Hello and welcome to another episode of Alex's Afternoon Art Show. Today I'm back with the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 mural. Today we're drawing Hayato, one of those other characters which no one knows, and it is very warm again today, so this fan's going to get some use, is what I'm saying, because it is way too hot today. And again, I decided I'd make some use out of the sun and not go outside and in fact sit here and do a drawing inside where it is very warm. And the kids are still shouting. Great. Okay, so no changes really have been made to the mural since last time. That was a very long pause I just took there. I didn't even take a breath, I just had my mouth open for no reason. But yeah, may as well start turning off the other characters we don't need. So we just have the finished ones and Hayato. Okay, so let me just zoom in. So with Hayato, I actually am going to have a few things which I need to show off here. And I've made Hayato a little stumpier than he actually should be. He should be a little lankier than this. I might maybe even thin him out as I'm going. We'll see what I do. Yeah, because yeah, he's supposed to be kind of thin, not quite as bulky as he looks here, because he's a bit stocky the way that I've drawn him for whatever reason. But yeah, I'll start just removing these so that we can see a full page shot of him more clearly. And yeah, okay, so I see what the idea that I was going for here was. So seemingly, yeah, I was going for the idea here of having him holding his belt, and that's a pose you sort of see a few times. I want to say I saw something of him holding his belt, but yeah, I'm going to need to thin him out. His arms are way too big because he's quite thin, and his legs are too big as well. His legs are a little too bulky, so I'll need to do some adjusting, a little bit like Maro, but not quite as extreme. But yeah, so yeah, I'll need to do a few adjustments, and yeah, there'll be a few things which I need to show off here. I think I've done something like this before, but I may as well readdress it, which is that I make little notes sometimes on the base sketches just as I'm going. So here, for example, I marked here 56 degrees because that was the specific rotation that I had to turn the screen to while I was doing these particular straight lines, and I'll need to go back to that later on because I'll need to do the sword fully. But yeah. Yep, I may as well start getting into it here now. So, and also primarily because I need this goddamn fan on something chronic. Now, as you can see here, I'm making a lot of my adjustments on the fly. I'm trying to make him naturally a little bit thinner, because I have a habit of making characters a little bit bulky, but I feel like he's definitely thinner. He doesn't look as kind of pudgy in the face. He looked a little bit kind of pudgy in the face before, and I kind of narrowed his jawline a little bit, because he's supposed to be quite thin and lanky, is the kind of impression I get from a lot of the art of him. Anyways, yeah, and it's just a thing of trying to manage, again, I say this all the time, it's a thing of trying to manage the lines, the amount of lines, and just how kind of thin they are. So for example, I had the same amount of lines in his face, I just thinned them out a little bit, so that makes him look a little younger. Because yeah, he's still got these little lines at at either side of his nose, but they're barely visible now. So it just kind of adds that little tiny little bit of depth to say there that he has a bit of, naturally, a bit more of a frowny face. And he's got the little lines at either side of his mouth just to show that he's got more of a frowny face, just to emphasize the kind of depth of his frown. So it's that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out colors, to be honest. That's the thing. As I'm going, I try and figure some of these things out, and one of the things I'm trying to figure out is from the art. It's whether or not the silver and the white are supposed to be the same. Because his like little torn up shirt thing here is very similar in color to the silver, and I don't know if it's supposed to be the same color or not. On the sprite, it is the same color. It's straight up the same color on a sprite. But I don't know if it's supposed to be the same color on if it's actually supposed to be the same color. So I suppose I'll figure that out later. You can see I added a few more of these lines here, these notches along here, just to show that that's kind of curved metal, and metal generally has those kind of bits of ridging that whenever the light hits it, you can kind of see some of the kind of bending of the metal a little bit. Some of like the stretch marks, I suppose, on the metal is the best way I can say it, because that's basically what it is. It's stretch marks. It's kind of like those little bits of thin sheeting that you can see along it whenever it's metal that isn't that thick. Even on thicker metal you can sometimes see that. Anyways, I'll keep going here. Okay, so there's our details, which took a lot longer than I wanted. We're an hour in, but that's primarily because, for whatever reason, of all things, his trousers are incredibly detailed, and also his shoes. His shoes are more detailed than I originally took it for. I didn't notice until I was glancing around the reference images that I had up here, because I was primarily focusing on the Bengus art, which, for the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 drawings anyways, you might have seen them before, but generally they get dramatically less detailed as it goes down the legs. So for example, on Hayato, his shoes are just red and that's it. They're just a very bright red and there's nothing else to them. But I noticed in the sprite, because the sprite is also in the corner here, I noticed that the sprite has a lot of detailing on the shoes, and I was like, hang on a minute. So I went around and had a look at some more reference images, and yeah, there's some detailing on the shoes like this. Mercifully, there aren't very many colors here, and these kids are very loud outside. Mercifully, there aren't very many colors going on, so that'll be reasonably easy to get through once I get to that. But yeah, I don't think there's much I need to say before we just start going along. Trying to think what I do my lightsaber trick at the end. I'll probably do it at the end. I'll probably do the last thing I do. Anyways, let me do these dots. Get everything set up here. So what is that? We need to make these. Make the little there. I'm already putting dits there, so I suppose that's accurate to the way my brain is functioning right now. Ugh. Anyways. Okay, there are our dots, and now it is colouring time, so I will probably reuse a skin tone from somebody else. So what I think I'll do is I'll grab one from Ryu. I think I could probably get away with just reusing reuse. Reuse would maybe make it a slight bit darker. And then I can get away with that, I think. I think I can get away with that. I think that's good enough. But yeah, as you can see, I've done a lot of detailing with the dots here. And this is just a bit of a longer one, I feel like, just in general. This one will probably take a little longer, and I have a few more tricks to get into, especially whenever we get to the not light or the not lightsaber. I don't even think they ever name it. I don't even know if it's named. I'm not sure. It probably is somewhere because all of these things have names. But yeah, let me get into this. Okay, so there's the colours. It's getting a little dark in here. My blinds have been blown closed by the fan. But yeah, it's starting to get a little dark. Because I've redeveloped my habit of doing these unnecessarily late. Even though I have more time nowadays, I don't have to do them late. But yet, here we are. I keep doing them late. But enough of that. I'm thinking now, should I do... You know what, I'll just create this first, and then I'll show off the lightsaber technique that I use a lot of the time. I actually want this to be under our color, so I'll just call this blade, because I'll be legally distinct too. We're gonna want this to be like a teal blue. That's what color it is in the game. That like slightly greener. It's about there in terms of color. And it's a little lighter. The inner blade anyways. So what was our rotation that we had? I'm going to need to turn off the background for a second. So our rotation was 56 degrees. I can probably turn off the base now. Or, well, I'll use the base just as a general. I can barely see it, but it is there. So it's in the hand tool. So 56 degrees. And then we shall do the blade from there. Now, hopefully this doesn't look weird. That looks weird. I'll need to angle it slightly more down. Let's try 60. Let's try 60, that might work. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, so what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna want to probably smooth out our edges a little bit more. And then, see, I'm not going to be doing the exact trick that I normally do with the lightsaber, because the exact trick involves blurring. We're not going to be blurring. How did I miss that? Oh, right. The exact trick I normally do involves blurring. We're not going to be blurring this at all. We're going to be leaving it at its kind of... Even that's still not quite right, to be honest, now that I think about it. Okay, so yeah, we've got to alter our rotation a little bit more, I'd say. I'd say maybe 63. 63 should be plenty. Alright, anyways, after a few minor technical difficulties, I think I'm gotten this to be about as big as I want it to be. How long is this supposed to be? Let's say it's about that long. Roughly. Because we'll need to make some adjustments. Actually not that long in the images, but I'll make it longer here just for the sake of it. So we're going to want it to be a blade edge. And then we're going to want to do something along these lines. Just to smooth off some of those edges. It's not working again. It's deciding to fight me. That's way too much. Just need to take a tiny bit off. Just so that it's a little smoother along the edge, kind of like that. Even that is quite thin for what we're looking for. But I think, to be honest, yeah, no, actually that's probably fine, because I'll do a little notch like that here, a little notch like that here, just so we're getting the idea that it is a blade of light being shot out of our little emitter. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect solution. But what I will do now is we're going to put an outer glow on it. Now, I don't exactly remember what type of outer glow or what size of outer glow I normally use. But we're going to want to go with something that is slightly bluer now. Slightly on the bluer scale, I believe. Bluer and darker. If I remember correctly. Because yeah, it's a little darker, deeper kind of color. It depends on where I'm looking at this. I think that's about the color that it normally is. So now we'll say 632 maybe. 35 and 3. I need to do something about this because, as you can see, there's a slight glow coming from underneath. I could maybe tighten this up. I might need to tighten it up a little bit. Tighten the glow to the actual blade. I might turn off the background just so we can see this a little easier. Yeah. Turn off my base. I don't know why I still have that on. Maybe just erase around here. So that's not going quite as far down the blade. Now I'll need to make some more adjustments to this here, because I feel like color needs to be deeper still. Maybe not that deep. Just further up like this. It's maybe a little bit more, stands out a little bit more. I think the inner blade needs to be lighter. So I'll try that maybe. It's looking maybe a little better. See, I suppose, just as I say, this is a very iterative process doing this specific method. It's a very kind of trial and error, this whole thing. And yeah, I'll try and make this inner blade lighter now. Hopefully this won't create issues by doing this. I think the issue is it actually just needs to be higher up like that. That looks a little better, I think. It does just really look like a lightsaber, but I mean, it's a lightsaber. Funny story. Old Hayato was he comes from a game called Star Gladiators, which was originally supposed to be a Star Wars Capcom game. well, not Star Wars versus Capcom, but it was supposed to be a Star Wars game as made by Capcom. So a fighting game in the Star Wars universe as done by Capcom. But the license got pulled seemingly late in the process, so they ended up having to create characters kind of late, which is why Hayato still has a lightsaber. I think, now, again, some of my information here is a little out of date because I don't remember all of it, so not exactly going to be perfect, but yeah, I think I don't need to be, I can reset my rotation anyways, to about there. I think that looks okay. Yeah, that looks okay. Yeah. Okay, now I think we can finally go and start doing our shading. I think that's good. How does that look against the background? I mean, it stands out a lot more against the background now, which is good. But the actual blade, or the outer part, kind of disappears a little bit. Not much I can really be done about that. But yeah. So we'll do the shading now. That was probably about, I don't know, like 10 minutes of conversation. So you can't say this one was too quiet. Well, I had to cut out as well because various technical difficulties and equipment failures, like microphone falling over. That always happens because the legs on the thing are not very high quality. But anyways, enough of me rambling. Time to actually get this shading done. Okay. Okay, so there is our shading done. Now it is time for the light line, and yep, it's this is a long one so far. We're already 2 hours and 15 minutes in, so once I'm done the light line, I think I'll probably just wrap up immediately. I don't think I have anything major to say. I think we already kind of covered the big bits. As I've been going back and editing these, I do notice that I happen to repeat myself rather frequently in some of this stuff, so I don't think I really need to. I don't think I really need to go into huge details on certain things. But yeah, I think. Yeah, once we're kind of done the light line, that'll be the kind of major bits done, and I'll probably just save the little bits, and then we'll be finished. So I'll do this. Okay, so we have finally finished, and yeah, we can fit most of him in frame, but not his little alfalfa spike. There's a timely reference for everyone. But yeah, yep, that's everything. So we will zoom out, not that much. Zoom out to about 16%. See if we can fit everyone in that way. Fit in Sansan and Zangief in the background. So there should be 8 over this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because yeah, this is character number 17. I believe. Yeah, should be. Should be character number 17. So we can't fit everyone in this shot. We're gonna need to zoom out to about 12%. That way we can fit everyone in. So the reason why I always zoom out to specific numbers is because that's the comfortable percentages that the tablet gives, or that Photoshop gives based on my resolution. So it's a case of so that they're not kind of like pixelated or anything like that. But yeah, so that is the video. That's Hayato done, and you can see his lightsaber from a distance. It kind of becomes a bit more of like a thick blob whenever it's at a distance, because that's just going to happen. But whenever it's zoomed in, you can see the kind of the fade the fade out. But yeah, whenever it's zoomed in, obviously it's not gonna, or whenever it's zoomed out like this, you're not gonna notice that, because of the resolution changing and stuff like that. But anyways, that is our video. So I will sign off here. Next time we're going to be drawing Psylocke. Yeah, next week you'll be seeing Psylocke show up. So may as well tie everything up in a neat little bow here. So I'll just say my little pieces and then I'll say goodbye. So if you like the video, do what you normally do. No pressure to do anything that you wouldn't normally do. So if you'd normally like the video, please continue to do so. If not, no harm done. Same deal with subscribing. Subscribe if you want. It's no skin off my back if you don't decide to do so. I would obviously like it if you did, because the number goes up. But and yeah, if you want to keep watching the videos and stuff like that, that'd be also good. But yeah, if you decide to watch the next video, I'll see you next time. So I'll say goodbye, and that'll be us for today. So bye bye.